Kia Sportage is one of the manufacturer's longest enduring cars, starting in 1996 with a reshelled Mazda B-Series truck with a small, funky SUV body on it. The Sportage has really turned into something decent over time. In 2016, the most recent generation of Sportage was launched. Updated from the previous car with updated styling, nicer interior, but ultimately similar mechanicals, the current Sportage represents a decent buy for $30,000 when it's new. But what about a second-hand one? The front end is the generic Kia front end with those interesting lights, and the rear end has a very distinct European look about it. It doesn't look like a mass-market SUV piece of trash. So in here, the Sportage's cabin is really nice. Everything, when you touch it, feels chunky. Nothing feels like it's made out of tin or plastic, or the cheap plastics that Korean cars were certainly known for having. And that's something that really surprises you. It surprises and delights you at the fact that this is a car that feels very Germanic. It doesn't feel Korean, it feels like a German car, right down to the sound of that indicator tick. Very much like an Audi or a VW. And performance, well, it's got quite a bit of it. For a little 2-litre 4-pot, this thing really does go. As you can see, the fact that my camera literally flew off. That's my fault for not attaching it properly. One thing you do notice when you're in a Sportage is that it doesn't feel like an unrelenting sea of grey that you're used to in all types of Korean cars. Most Korean cars are grey, dull, shiny plastics. This, well, very black, very efficient, very Germanic. In terms of going around corners, well, it actually turns quite well. The lighter front-wheel drive Sportage's chassis is very much on par with what you expect from a medium-sized saloon car. This is a jacked-up SUV. It's very, very, very surprising. When you're thrashing it, it doesn't feel like a trash car. In traffic, where many Sportages spend their lives, not on the open road, it's an easy, simple car, but also it doesn't feel like when you sit in everything and you feel these, it doesn't feel like, oh dear, I'm in a Kia Sportage, things aren't going so well for me. It doesn't give you that feeling.
So what to look out for on a second-hand Sportage? Well, the engine issue that dogged the 11 to 15 model Sportages isn't so much a problem with these cars. However, there are still cars that have had engine problems. So it seems to be more an isolated issue with the QL Sportage. Some do, some don't. You have to really check the car. So when you get to the car, start it up off cold and rev it really loudly and look for a big plume of blue smoke on the back of it. If it's blowing out blue smoke or idling really, really roughly, walk away. The main issue with this is piston rings. They seem to be defective. Now, other thing to look out for is crash damage. Now, a lot of these, being ex-fleet cars and ex-hire cars, aren't driven with the most care. So look for bumpers that aren't matching. Now, the plastics on the Kia bumpers don't always match from the factory, so it's actually quite hard to tell. What you're looking for is overspray, you're looking for screw marks, you're looking for signs of paint. You're also looking for masking tape lines if you can see them. Make sure all the electrics and infotainment systems all work. Now, I do this, and I say this with all modern cars, check these all off, because getting these from the manufacturer, they aren't cheap. You have to check every part off that's electrical to see if it works, because one defective electrical part, if the car's out of warranty, you could be talking thousands of dollars worth of repairs here. So you really need to check everything on the car if it works. Between the petrol and diesel, you're better off in one of the petrol motors, a 2-litre or 2.4-litre petrol engines. But I still believe you have to check them every bit as much because of the piston ring thing. It's been isolated in this generation. In the QLs, it's nowhere near as bad as it's in previous cars, but you still need to see it, you still need to check it, and you still need to see where the car shows any problems. So make sure you check these things before you buy. The other isolated issue that these things have had is dodgy engine bearings. There's been a few conrod issues as well, again, isolated like the piston ring problem. It seems pretty interesting. Same with the piston rings, rev the engine, look for blue smoke, look for noise. See both, or any of them, run. Sportage prices started around $13,500 for a really high mileage 2016 example, although you'll need at least $20,000 to start securing cars with under 200,000 kilometres. Engines on offer are a 2-litre petrol and a 2-litre diesel. However, if you like 3 pedals with your car, you'll be very disappointed here because the Sportage is only available as an automatic. So if you're looking for a Sportage under $25,000, the car you'll be looking for would be a 2016 to 18 base SI with under 100,000 kilometres. Now, these cars are plentiful, but they've also gone up in value. The car pictured was bought in 2018 and is worth pretty much what it was worth 4 years later. Something you do need to check with these cars is the service history. It's got to have a full service history, because if it doesn't have a full service history, then there's a decent chance it's had a bit of a haircut. These are popular with fleets and companies, and also many people who have companies actually rent these out as Ubers and rent them out for ride shares. So quite a few of them have a lot of Ks on them. So if you find one that looks a little worn out and has low Ks and no books, ask the tough questions. So if you're looking north of $25,000, you'll be getting into 2018, 2019 cars in SI trim. SLI or Platinum trim, up to 30k, you're still looking at 16 and 17 cars, and these still have Kia factory warranty left in them, albeit until 2023 for 2016 cars and 24 for 17 cars. 30k and higher is where we start getting into much lower mileage 19, 20 and 21 cars in SI trim, and you get into SLIs 18 and newer. 4-litre inline-4 Sportages can be had in the high 20s, up to as high as $44,000 for the lowest mileage GT line that's 1 year old. And you have to consider spec, age, warranty, and condition. Now, cars with over 160,000 kilometres will actually not have any warranty left on them, because Kia would only warrant the cars if they're commercially used up to 160,000 Ks. So if you're looking at an ex-fleet car with high mileage, don't necessarily think the warranty will cover everything, because it may not. So if it's a private car, that's likely not to be a problem, but you have to consider who had the car first. So make sure if it's a business car, be realising the fact that that car, once it hits 160,000 Ks, Kia may not cover everything on that car. Bottom line is, should you buy a Sportage? Well, depends on your price point. If you're looking under $25,000 and you're looking for a base SUV like an SI that's about 5 or 6 years old, it wouldn't be a bad buy. In the mid-30s, probably be as far as I'd go for a lower mileage car. So I would say keep it under $25,000 and make sure the car you buy has been well maintained, well cared for, and looks like it's been treated with respect.